Buenas, Ori Carmona aquí con Abogados con Experiencia. Accidente, no hay problema. Llame al 702-999-0000. Hello, we are here today with a dear friend and a candidate for the mayor of Las Vegas.
Yes, ma'am.
Kara Jenkins. Now, again, as you know, when I have my friends on the show, but they've also been colleagues, and I've known you for a good 17 years.
You're telling them our age.
No, you're beautiful. But you're the administrator for Nevada Equal Rights Commission.
Yes.
And you've done an amazing job. And now a candidate for mayor.
Yes.
Kara, please, thank you so much for wanting to come on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's so good seeing you. It's like deja vu all over again. And it's just so good to see you thriving and doing your thing. You've always been dedicated to service. It never leaves us, right?
No, it does
always,
not.
Even when we retire, we still go back into the community and connect people. And I want to say I'm really honored to be here because one of the things that I always loved about you on our stateside work together was you were a connector of people, and I see you doing that now.
Oh,
and
thank
information
you.
is power. So thank you for having me on here so I can talk to you a little bit more about who I am and my campaign and what I want to do for the city of Las Vegas. I really appreciate you.
Oh, please, Kara. Again, I've known you many years, so I know the qualifications, the skills, the leadership is all there because I've seen it. From cases that have gone through, and we've read about it in the paper. I won't mention anything else. But the one thing that we've always worked on is community.
Community.
That is the one thing that we're both passionate about, making sure that we get our information out to all of us. Because it's like we were discussing earlier, we take for granted a lot of the stuff we know, but we don't disseminate it well into our community.
Right.
So talk to me about how you're going to do that. How are you going to go out there and let everybody know exactly who you are, and what you want to do for our city? Because it's a new era.
It is.
The Goodmans are gone.
They're still here.
They're still here, but they
she's
can't
termed
run.
out.
Exactly.
And I think I want to say that they have laid a fantastic foundation in the city, and it's now time to pass the torch to leadership that has kind of been not under their tutelage, but also we've seen so much growth in Las Vegas with Tony Hsieh and his investments with downtown, the downtown project, and what he did with Zappos and other entrepreneurs. One of the things that I think, to your question about how I'm going to get the word out, is we're going to have a robust get out the vote. One of the things that's super important is that understanding what your rights are, and that's our community work, but also being a part and an active collective. It takes a community to understand that they have the power too, and that there are choices in leadership. And if we are complacent in that, then we get what we get. And so one of the things that I like to say that I'm doing is I'm offering an option that Vegas hasn't seen before in my leadership. I'm not a known politician. In fact, I would argue that I'm probably not a politician. I am a public servant, but people are going to put me into the politician box. It's fine. It is what it is. But I stand strong on my principles that we need to let people have access to services where it makes sense, that they need to know what they have available to them, that government needs to be that leverage for them. But then at the same time, there needs to be investment in people in the community so that they can do their own thing. And the great thing about Vegas is if you come here, you can really live out your dreams. We saw that with Tony Hsieh's investment in downtown and what that's done to the community.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Right, the Raiders.
Oh my God, and let's not forget our lady championships, the Las Vegas Aces.
I mean,
exactly.
Phenomenal. Tall women, I'm all about that. I don't know if your viewers know.
I wish I could say that.
Pretty tall. Yeah, so I want to make sure that with my campaign comes a type of energy that can match where Las Vegas is going. Also with informed, knowledgeable partners, community partners, so that when we start implementing change, I can use the mayor platform to really make everybody feel included, that Vegas is our city, our town, born or raised or not. If you live here, it's your town.
Exactly.
And that you can have a really good life. And some of the top 3 things that are polling right now, Odie, public safety, making sure people, when they invest in businesses out here, that they're not vandalized and that people feel safe walking in their neighborhoods and in the street. So we're going to invest in that, and that's really important. I do support our Las Vegas Metro Police Department.
Definitely.
I would not call a social worker if someone was breaking into my home. But at the same time, there's also an opportunity, and I've seen with Metro, to have community policing so that we can get more community-based involvement in solving crimes and making sure that the community knows that they're protected, everybody's protected. Another thing that's polling is affordable housing for our young kids who are coming out of college. I know I moved back home a couple times after law school and back out, but can you afford your own place? That ties in with a livable wage and affordable wages. Also to making sure that people feel that Vegas can be their home. So that's kind of what the top 3 priorities are. It will evolve and it will change.
Of course.
But
of course.
those are the things that I'm a wind of, and I'm also too affected by. So I'm not immune because I'm in government or I am running for office. I'm actually
right
someone
in the
who's
thick of things.
I'm a citizen too, so I feel these things, all the things.
Yes,
And so,
and you've been a public servant for many, many years.
Yes, I have.
And one of the things that you and I have always take pride in is going out into the community, letting them know what the latest of the scams or the frauds or whatever may be. You would do it in English, I do it in Spanish, but either way, we always make sure that we would, go out there. The other thing I want to talk a little bit about is our youth.
Oh,
I know
yes.
you're as passionate as I am about youth programs,
I am.
Workforce development within our youth.
Yes.
And the city is a big pusher on that. I
Yeah, they
know that
are.
they push work experience a lot. They have that Summer Business Institute. Is it the city? Maybe I'm doing it. I forget.
They do. They have a lot of investments in the youth, and they have all these back to school initiatives and programs. And the council members are doing a phenomenal job trying to get folks excited about school, especially our kids, because we need to be.
Exactly.
We need to be really excited about school and investing in our youth, not only just if they want to go to college, but if they opt for an apprenticeship or a vocational job.
Or short-term certification.
Sure, yeah.
And I...
Everybody wants to get paid well. So the mayor doesn't really get involved with NG in that sense. But we have to make sure that the city is prepared to embrace our kids so that they can stay here and that they can have a good job so they can live.
Through your economic development,
Sure.
Now you can work with what are the sectors that we need to concentrate on within the city.
Well,
that we know.
AI is just the new frontier.
Artificial intelligence?
Yes,
Oh.
thank you for clarifying artificial intelligence. And so one of the things that I've been seeing is that it can be used for bad, but it can also be really used for good, for city planning, for teaching our kids on how to code. I know the city's really implementing that aspect, but we'd beef that up a bit. Also, too, I want to make sure that folks they know they have options here. Whether you go to college or not, you have a good paying job.
Exactly.
And we need to be able to support that. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit here in Vegas, and so we need to just develop and nurture that. And when we have sports teams like the Aces and the Raiders and the Las Vegas Athletics coming into town, it creates jobs. Yes, go Knights, go. And that's all great, but we need to make sure that our locals get the same amount of love and attention that our visitors get. We roll out the red carpet for our for our visitors because we're the number one, tourist capital of the world.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to make sure that the people who are sustaining that experience get treated well too.
And can afford to live here.
Absolutely.
Some will complain that they can't afford tickets to these big events because it's way out of the budget of, the everyday person that lives here and works here and has their kid going to school.
Odie, I'm going to tell you, I had a really phenomenal conversation with a union member who was a big part of where his crew was a big part of Allegiant Stadium and building it. Mm-hmm. And it was a phenomenal endeavor that was done in record time, and it's a beautiful facility. He's so proud of that. I don't want to say his name, but he was so proud of that. He said, Miss Jenkins, I drive by the Allegiant Stadium most times, and I tell my son, Daddy did that. I can't afford a ticket, but I worked on
invested.
that. And so that is, first of all, I was like, we got to get this man a ticket. That's the community
in the back
side.
of the head, yeah.
But also thinking that when we invest in our people who invest in our city, it's a win-win because people feel ownership in the town. It's here's the key. It's not where you were born. That's something that you cannot help. That's up to your parents. But what you can help is where you decide and choose to live, where you choose to raise a family, where you choose to invest your blood, sweat, and tears to make this community what it is. And a big misconception about Vegas is that we're not community oriented. But
we're a transit town.
Not true. Not been my experience.
Or I get the question years ago when I worked in the casino industry. I worked at the Mint, the original Mint in downtown.
Been there. Yep.
Then I worked at the Desert Inn, and I worked at the Las Vegas Hilton. I did merchandising there.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, to make a long story short, I don't know how many times. Do you live in one of these? Are you kidding me? No, I live in a home just like you. My daughter goes to a school just like yours.
Yeah.
We drive to and from work.
We do a really good job of selling the fantasy, don't we?
Exactly.
To our tourists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think now they have a better idea because we've had such an influx of people moving in.
Yes, we have.
And that's another subject I wanted to bring up to you.
Sure.
The influx of the population coming in and the housing
Yes.
and the rental or the purchasing of a home. What do you see that looking like down the line?
I'm going to monitor that closely. My team has been. This last legislative session that we had, some bills were proposed making rent controlled, capped. It did not pass. But there are efforts, I know, from our legislators to try to make housing more affordable. But that's going to be an ongoing dialogue between the Realtors Association and realtors and the community and legislators.
And the contractors themselves.
We all have to get involved. I know that during COVID, a lot of rent was put on hold, and so a lot of businesses are trying to recoup that money. But on the other end, people didn't have the money to give. So
yeah, with that moratorium ended,
Yes.
and I know there are a lot of people that actually were given 30-day eviction notices and that sort of
Right.
thing.
And I do know that Legal Aid and some really great community law organizations were trying to help with that. But at the same time, I think these are all symptomatic problems, Odie. I think that what we need to address are deeper issues that I won't get into it yet. We'll wait for the debates to
Yes.
happen. However, I want to discuss too homelessness and housing on all that. All these things are symptoms of policies that have been left untouched, that we've just kind of turned a blind eye and just it's now at this point. And so you can't ignore it. You can't ignore the tents that we see. You can't ignore the fact that it takes 3 roommates to have a 1-bedroom apartment. You can't ignore these things. And so one of the things that our campaign is going to do and my plans is to try to get high stakeholders and think tanks from community, from public and private buy-in to try to problem solve together. And I've actually had these really great conversations with leaders from both ends on how to tackle homelessness, on how to tackle the housing issue, without disclosing necessarily who, because they may not want me to disclose.
Exactly, no worries.
It's something that we need to at least now start paying attention to, because these are all things that are plaguing major cities. It's just not going to go away.
And it's not just Las Vegas.
It's not. But Odie, we need the next mayor to not just be cutting ribbons, although I can cut a good ribbon and I love it, or take great photos. But we need to have a really good dialogue on how we tackle city problems, because they impact our people. Again, it always boils down to the people.
Yeah. You know, one thing that amazes me is when I get off on Las Vegas Boulevard, and if I have to go to the State Building for some reason, how depressing and just uncomfortable. I don't feel safe. I don't know how those state employees do it. And I'm sure the governor by now will have an opportunity to, move or do something. But that's exactly 15 years ago. I'm not saying that downtown was super safe, because no downtown is safe and no city is 100% safe. I'm sorry. And those who think that, because I live here or there, no. Crime can happen anywhere, at any time, to anyone. So you always have to be alert regardless of where you are. But 15 years ago, we did not see that huge problem of under the freeways and the tent cities. And for a while there, I don't know if you remember where that youth drop shelter was in downtown behind where Catholic Charities was a long time ago. I forgot her name. She passed away, and it was
I think you're talking about the Care Complex area.
Thank you. Yeah. And so
our team's volunteered there, and it's
and
beautiful people with just unfortunate circumstances.
Exactly.
And there needs to be wraparound services and mental health care treatment with our homeless. There's layers to homelessness. There's different types. There's homeless where it's like, I just can't afford rent. I need a roommate or 3. And there's people who we just know because of mental health issues or drug addictions, they're not going to fully integrate into our society in a way that they can be productive. But do we throw them out? Absolutely not. But then we also balance that with the needs of our business owners to make sure that our streets are safe, our civilians are safe, so that when you're walking to a business or you're trying to frequent a business, you don't feel like you felt uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And I guarantee you they feel just as uncomfortable too. I can't imagine being more uncomfortable than not having a house.
Oh my God. And in this type of weather.
Right. That takes problem solving at a level where you bring in everybody to the table. One of the things that I'm really proud of, and thank you for your compliments about my work in government, is that I am able to be a connector of people, because I don't think a great leader just has all the ideas. I think a great smart leader brings other people with knowledge base and expertise to the table and say, okay, how do we tackle this and how do we execute? One of the, I think, frustrations for a lot of young voters is that they don't see government executing, and they just see people smiling, and that's not where we're at. And again, with my candidacy, I offer an option of let's get stuff done, let's make smart decisions, and we will begin tackling real problems so they don't continue to grow for future generations. That's the legacy I want to leave. And then I'm done, I'm retired.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have like visions of stepping stones, and I won't get into it. I don't want my comms director mad at me. But, you know, I see other candidates coming into this race with other motives of why they want to be mayor. And it's such an opportunity to make a positive change and bring people together and get stuff done. It's not a jumping off point for another aspiration or a career, or just because you're bored or because you just don't want to sit down. So, you know, we'll get into that later, Odie.
You've touched on a couple topics.
Okay.
Number one, leadership. Okay. I've worked under many leaders through my 27 years in state government. I've had some horrible leaders, but I've also learned from one specific woman at UNLV, and I'm going to say her name, Dr. Juanita Fain. One of the best leaders I ever had. You talk about teaching me how to control my emotions, how not to always, not accept other people's views. And the one thing that I realized about leadership is two things, and I've seen them in you. One, you're visible. Two, you have people behind you that if you stand at a hill and you tell your team, hey, we need to take that hill over there, before you blink, they're there and you're behind them. That means supportive 100%. That is that one part of leadership that, of course, everyone says, how do you grow into a leader? Well, it takes a lot because it takes education, it takes experience, it takes learning. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on you're welcome, is you bring new vision. You bring outside looking in, if you can understand what I'm trying to say. Many years working for government, we're entrenched in this area, and a lot of times I always knew who was running and what was doing, but I really never got involved because of state government. You're not really, you don't have that type of freedom.
Right.
But now that I'm not, and I have an opportunity, when I saw you, and I'm like, oh my God.
We saw each other at a ribbon cutting
Exactly.
for a local artist. Yeah.
But the one I wanted to say is you're looking outside the box. You're actually not going in there telling me, hey, Odie, you know what? I got it all. I can do this. And no, you're not doing that. What I like about it is the collaborative effort. Because like you said, if we want to beat or at least control our homelessness, it has to be not only Department of Health and Human Services at the state level, but it's got to be all the local municipalities working together on how do we get a team together to think this out and how do we work it. The other side of the coin, like you said, those folks that can't afford it, how do we work as a collaborative effort from the state level down on those skills that are needed? What are the sectors that are coming in for economic development that this person may possibly be able to transfer those skills, and now we can assist them in getting that type of training.
Right.
And that's what I like, is the fact that you're not doing it by yourself, and you understand you can't do it by
There's
yourself.
no way. No.
So it takes a village.
It does.
And that's exactly.
And that's a cultural thing for us. You being a very proud Latina and me being a very proud Black woman, we know that it's based in, it takes a village, and that's from an African proverb, to raise a child. And even though I don't have children of my own, there are a lot of young people that mean a lot to me in my life. I have got godchildren, nieces, and it's just, the world that I was afforded was provided and curated by my parents who truly believed in investing in their kids. And I'm blessed for that. I'm forever blessed for that. Wonderful dad and mom. But a lot of other kids don't have that opportunity, and it'd be lost on me not to look back or see how we can help
or
those
mentor
kids.
or
Sure,
exactly.
because it you know what it does? It's the next Einstein. It's the next Oprah. It's the next, I don't know, Kobe Bryant. It's the next.
To me, it could be the next Gloria Estefan, or the next Andy Garcia, or the next Eva Mendes.
Exactly. What are we doing if we are not investing in our kids?
And the thing is that it's all about being able to bring our cultures together. Like we were
Yes.
talking about,
Yes.
being Cuban American, when I came from Cuba in 1967, again, I didn't know the language, but we integrated into this culture and we're able to keep both cultures.
Yes.
And I'm proud to say that my family, my daughter, my grandkids don't speak Spanish yet, but we'll get there.
Yes.
But the rest of us do.
Yes.
And they appreciate the food, the music, the history. So
One of the things about diversity that people think it's now, I hate that it's now just a tongue-in-cheek word, but I want your viewers to understand when I think of diversity, I'm not just talking black, white. I'm talking about experiences, immersiveness into culture, getting another worldview, making new friends, opening up your mind. I'll never forget when I turned 40 5 years ago.
you just...
I made sure to go to Paris because I had not yet traveled the country. Well, I had traveled the country, but it was mostly like beaches in the Caribbean. But I wanted to go to Paris. I came back never the same. Just even stopping in the Netherlands and also just being in Paris and just touring and going to the museums and the churches and getting the tours. I really do feel making friends. Learning French on a video tape just so I could be conversational. I really do love people, and I came back with a different worldview. And so one of the things that I think is great about Vegas is that we've got people from all over calling Vegas home. And if you miss out on tapping into someone's culture, their food, who they are, their life experiences, you're missing out on a part of the world.
Oh my God.
Anyway, let me not get deep here.
We've got the Puerto Rican Association, the Greek, we got the Italians.
Yes.
We've got the Hawaiian festival that we have, and I'm sorry, I apologize if I'm missing any others, but
No.
there is always some type of cultural event going in Las Vegas because we
Right.
are a melting pot.
We are.
So by getting, like you said, the village together, we might be able to tackle some of these problems that are coming on.
One thing I'm really proud about is that I'm not polarizing in my platform either. I'm really proud of that. I think I can connect all groups.
Oh, definitely, because as a black woman, as a woman, okay, and just as a citizen and a resident alone, you've got it.
Thank you.
The fact that, again, I go back to your state service. I go back to your public service. You're not a new kid on the block. You've just always been behind the background doing all the work. So you've been here this whole time. We're just now getting to see your face and getting to hear your voice and give us your thoughts about what do you want to do and how you want to do it.
And I appreciate the opportunity to be here to talk about that.
Oh, Kara,
To your viewers.
It is our pleasure. And, again, we go back to the fact that Las Vegas is a melting pot.
It is.
The candidacy for mayor is wide open.
It is.
You
I think
put
there's six people now, including me.
yes, I can't tell you all the names right now.
Don't worry,
but
you're
I'm
sitting with
not.
me.
Yeah, exactly. But
they can come to your show too.
But Kara, we have to make sure that people know that it's been about 24 years that the Goodmans have, and they've done an
Yes.
incredible job.
Yes.
But I go back to leadership, vision, looking outside the box, diversifying our workforce, and our educational system as well, helping those. And most important is you care.
I do.
You care. And that's what I've always liked about
Thank
you.
you.
And
You
that's
care
why
too, Odie.
I know. But I don't know. It's one of those things that we just live it. We just do it. You know, when people say thank you, you're like, thank you for what?
Yeah.
I just,
It's nice to hear.
Exactly.
I want to thank you for all that you do in the community, in the Latino community, and how you give visibility and voices to our community here, English as a second language. And just, Odie, one of the things that's so important is that, again, we make sure that our message is very clear. We think a very high level, but the average person right now, they're not really thinking about 2024. They're thinking about how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to put food on the table, and if college is even affordable, if they'll even get in now. And so one of the things is we just want people to know that they are acknowledged and seen, and I think that's the first step in government and applying government where it makes sense. Some folks don't really need the hovering, but some people do need wraparound services, and so the platform that's available to being mayor, I'd like to lend my years of experience, my decades-long work in public service to try to build bridges and create some solutions to get stuff done.
And as we know, let's communicate. B, right hand, left hand. Let's all bring it in, because the thing is all our state and local municipalities are doing the same thing, but they're all running, doing the same thing.
I've heard that criticism that they're working in silos.
And exactly. And forget about who's going to take the credit. At the end of the day, the credit is when we see that project or that program work. And so that's where I like the fact that you're breaking those barriers and understand the fact that we've got to stop working in silos. State and local municipalities have got to talk to each other. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that, like the old Riviera saying.
Sure.
You know?
It's your call to action as a citizen, and it's your right to speak freely on that. And my opportunity to listen as a candidate. So I'm listening to you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much.
Kara, thank you so much for coming in today. We appreciate you.
Hopefully you have me back.
Oh, definitely. And again, we're here for you, whatever you may need. We are here to help you and assist you on the road to becoming mayor of Las Vegas.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you, Odi.
Odi Carmona, abogados con experiencia. Accidentes. Motocicletas, bicicletas, mordidas de perros, cualquier cosa, cualquier problema, por favor, llamen Abogados con Experiencia 702-999-0000. Hasta luego.